He's
All right.
one of my people.
Just like us. Okay.
Now, now that we've given Don Jr., read him his Manafort Miranda Act rights.
Manafort Miranda Act.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the right to remain an idiot. Anything you say can and will appear on Twitter.
Right. Because you put it there.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get on to the part where President Stupid. Mm-hmm. First of all, I assume at this point we don't need to tell everyone what's going on with Donnie Jr. Okay, maybe we do. No, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe 20 years from now, people are going to go, what the hell are they talking about? This was the week when Don Trump Jr. decided he would be clever and just spill the fucking beans on everyone. Mm-hmm. Put all his emails or a lot of his emails out on Twitter, most of which implied the existence of other emails because the way that, the responses are worded or the way that the replies are worded, and makes very clear that Manafort and President Jared and Donnie were colluding with the Russians.
Oh, there was definitely a conspiracy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep,
and they thought it was a great idea to work with the Russians.
Sure.
To get dirt on Hillary, and they were more than willing to meet with them at their convenience because the time of the meeting changes, and Donnie doesn't say to anyone, "Can you make it?"
And this last week was like living through the Tea Party thing on
fast
hyperspeed.
Forward. Yeah.
On fast forward, exactly. Because watching the Republicans go from George Bush is the greatest president who ever lived. What sort of traitor are you for not loving George Bush and agreeing with everything he says? To I never heard of George Bush. Why do you keep calling me a Republican? I'm an independent. I'm a Tea Partier. And watching them do that right in front of you was just appalling and fascinating and hilarious and tragic. But the entire Republican Party, certainly the base of the party, has gone through that transformation in like 2 days.
Well, they have not abandoned Trump.
No, they've gone from there is no collusion. This is nothing. It's not even there. Fuck you. It's irrelevant. To Obama did worse. Kennedy did worse. Hillary did worse. Right. And anyway, collusion is fine. It's perfectly okay. They saved us from Hillary. And anyway, it's not illegal.
Obama entrapped Trump. Yeah. Yep, that's the one.
They went from one position to the diametrically opposite position over the course of 48 hours as a group. That's how brainwashed the meatheads on the right are. That's how desperate they are never to admit that they're wrong, never to admit that they've been conned, never to admit liberals were right. They would rather tear their own heads off. They'd rather see the country burn than ever have to admit, holy fuck, liberals were right about this too.
And the committee vote today to take away Jared Kushner's security clearance in the House went on a party line vote.
Of course it did.
So they are complicit in this.
Oh, every person who voted R is complicit in this. Yeah. Every person who decided, you know what, Jill Stein looks pretty cute. I think I'll throw her my vote. Is everyone who didn't vote for the one candidate who could have stopped this nightmare from unfolding, or who's sitting there going, well, you know, she probably would have been just as bad. You're complicit. This is you. This is on you. And if it's and
let's not forget, Jamie over at Crooks and Liars reminded us all this morning on email that they were ready to impeach Hillary.
Oh, yeah.
The day she was inaugurated.
Yeah, Jason Chaffetz said he had hearings lined up from now until doomsday. But suddenly, again, we don't need any more government oversight because a guy with an R after his name, a con man, a lying racist con man traitor is elected. And now, and I cannot, if you were there, this is all sounding really familiar. But I can't tell you how eerie this is. Because every time the occupant of the White House changes parties, the Republican Party has done this for the last 30 years. Every time they jettison everything they just said they believed in for 8 fucking years overnight. And
including really personal things like my personal economy. How is your bank account doing? The day after Donald Trump gets inaugurated, everything's great.
Everything's great. Before that, Obama's ruining America.
Yeah, and is a disaster, and my taxes are too high, and I'm not making enough money.
And the difference between us, these people in North Korea, is they do it to themselves. Every day they get up, they turn on hate radio, they turn on Sean Hannity, and they beg them to lie to them. Yep. And that's how they get through day after day. And that's what they've turned into. They have turned into this mindless, they've done it to themselves. And the only part that is kind of hilarious is watching the people that enabled them, that deflected for them, that apologized for them, that said liberals are just as bad for 20 fucking years, slowly going, holy shit, where did all these people come from? Watching them slowly dawn on them that the poor broke-ass, dumbass, traitorous liberals really were right about everything all along, and they can't admit it either. But the look of horror on the face of Matthew Dowd and people like that as, oh, my God, they really are a mob of mindless, reprogrammable meatheads is true. And this is I want to make a larger point, and then we'll zip right through a bunch of our list because there's an awful lot that happened this week. The part that I wanted to home in on, because it directly relates to the political party that he now leads.
Joe Scarborough? Oh, wait.
No. The independent party, the newly independent Joe C. Now you're just sidetracking me there. And it's very effective. You just put a penny on the railroad track, and I go right down that side. No, it's the idea that Donald Trump said there's nothing wrong with this after denying it ever happened, because anyone would take that meeting. Anyone would take that meeting. But
you just said you've been saying for 6 months that there was no meeting.
Right. And before that, you were saying Hillary's corrupt, Hillary's monster, Hillary blah, 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 blah. But why? Well, here's the thing. And this is where the base of the GOP, the management of the GOP, and Donald Trump are all conjoined by this one really important fact. And there's a lot more, but this one's really important. It is that they all have been told a billion times by Rush Limbaugh and John Hannity and Mark Levin and Laura Ingraham and all the liars on the right, all the demagogues on the right, all the monsters going back to Richard Mellon Scaife, going back to Nixon, that the federal government is a vast, scary, corrupt, liberal conspiracy to rob them of their freedom, destroy their lives, loot them of their treasures, and give them away to undeserving people because liberals hate America.
I think that's more of a Reagan thing than a Nixon thing. Oh, yeah. But you're right. Yeah.
Well, Nixon was tried to govern, but Nixon did turn Agnew on the press.
Yes, he did.
Blame the press, the nattering nabobs of negativism. Right. So this goes way, way, way back. These people have been suckling at the teat of hating their federal government, hating our form of government, hating elected government for 30 fucking years. Yeah. So they really believe that compassion is a joke, that compromise is treason because liberals are monsters, that everyone in government is a criminal. Everyone is a backstabbing, looting scumbag. There's no such thing as public service. There's no such thing as wanting to work for the good of your country. That's all just lies that these criminals tell you so they can rip you off. And there's 60+ million monsters out there who all believe this. Believe it like they believe their Bible. And Donald Trump believes it too. While
they're collecting Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare. Right.
But that's okay because that's for them.
Right.
But liberals want to every regulation is slavery. Every tax that doesn't go directly back into their pockets is plunder.
Theft, yes.
And they really believe, they're not making this up. They really believe this shit right down to their shoe tops. And they believe it because they've been eating out of the same toxic dumpster as Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. So Donald Trump comes along and says, and just lies to him, says, sure, you can have this, you can have that, you can have whatever you want. I'm going to make it all magically happen. And that's what they've been told can happen if only the evil government were swept out of the way. So, of course, you can bring coal jobs back. I'll just wave my magic wand to make the government stop killing coal jobs. And, of course, you can have free health care. Why, health care is the easiest fucking thing in the world. And, of course, we're going to solve North Korea. I'll negotiate with the Chinese. They'll give it to us 1, 2, 3. And that's because Donald Trump has been eating out of the same dumpster that the lowest, dumbest motherfucker in the GOP has been eating out of. They've all been gobbling up this Breitbart slop for decades.
And that's exactly why the Trump base voter in the primaries continually said, Donald Trump says what I'm thinking.
Because he does.
Because he does.
Donald Trump gets into government, and what does he think? Honestly, what does he think? He thinks everyone here is corrupt. Everyone here's on the take. There are no rules, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. Right. If I want to go, if I want to turn,
I'll go clean out the Washington D.C. hotel with my name on it.
I can do that.
Take the money and pocket it.
Everyone
I'm going to pocket my salary, even though I agreed I'd donate it. No, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. Oh wait, I have to do that. Okay, well then let's make a game show out of it.
And then all the way up to
fine.
Of course, if I climb into bed with Vladimir Putin to screw Hillary out of the presidency. So what? Everyone does it, right? This is something everybody does. And to their horror, even Republicans who are perfectly willing to play on the ignorance and paranoia of their voters to get votes, but actually at some level, some of them actually know how government works. Like, no, that isn't how it works. That isn't how any of this works. But you've been telling every fucking meathead in this country for 30 years that is exactly how it works. Mm-hmm. And you've been profiting by making them angrier and dumber and more heavily armed and more heavily paranoid every election cycle. So along comes Donald Trump, who simply repeats back to them what you've been telling them with exclamation points and in little words. And he gets into the White House and he truly believes that now I'm a king. Hey, you let Barack Obama get away with murder. He wasn't even a fucking citizen. I can do whatever I want.
And I've seen this on Twitter, and I'm sure everyone else has too. No one investigated Barack Obama for anything.
Ever. Never investigated.
Wow.
No president. Well, actually, if I'm going to skip ahead in our notes, Donald Trump has claimed that he has done more in 5 months than practically any president in history.
Yeah.
It's just but that's the flip side of the same coin. You can tell these meatheads anything. Yeah. Anything. And as long as you have an R after your name and you're willing to say that the Negroes and the Poors and the French and the Chinese and the liberals are behind the thing I'm trying to save you from, they will run off a cliff with a grenade in both hands, screaming your name all the way to the bottom. And when it finally figures out that they're going to hit bottom and die, they'll curse liberals because somehow it's Barack Obama's fault. And that's who you're dealing with. And we really, really, I'm talking to you, Chris Hayes. I'm talking to you, Chuck Schumer. I'm talking to people who are still bemused and bumfuzzled. Can you believe it? How are these people behaving this way? They behave this way because they've been programmed to behave this way. This is who they are. They're not faking it. And you know what? Every time Chris Hayes puts Charlie Dent, good old Republican Charlie Dent, on his show and lets him lie about the Affordable Care Act, and Charlie Dent knows he's lying, and Chris Hayes knows he's lying, and I know he's lying, but we'll let him do it anyway. You reinforce ever so slightly the fact that we're just going to let them get away with lying. And once you've decided that it's too much trouble to call people out in their lives, and it's too much trouble not to book them on your show anymore once they've proven to be liars, you, like Chuck Todd, have become complicit in the nightmare that you're now wondering, where the hell did this thing come from?
Right.
Now I'm going to step off my soapbox because we're going to talk about healthcare. All that shit, because that is the price of civilization. If you don't